Hey guys, and today I'll be doing my tips for round 6. The first game we have up is Collingwood up against St Kilda, and this shapes to be a pretty huge game because a win either way will keep that team's season alive, so a win is very important right here. Collingwood have won 5 of the last 6 contests against St Kilda, so it looks like they have the wood over them. And the last time they played, there was a goal in it, and even though there was a bit of controversy about it, Harry O'Brien got a free kick within the last minute or so, and then probably shouldn't have been a free kick, and then I think David Armitage kicked the goal, but they didn't count it obviously because Harry got the free kick and would have made the draw, but yeah, that's footy, I guess. The Pies generally don't dominate at Etihad. They generally just get the job done, and St Kilda seem to like Etihad a lot better. And they really do play some pretty good footy there, and they like it better than the MCG anyway. Well, that's what I think. And just for an upset, I think the Saints can get the points here. I think they'll be able to beat the Pies. It'll be a close one, and could definitely go either way. It's really a toss of the coin, this game. I think St Kilda will be able to get the win by 13 points. The Bombers play the Giants at Etihad Stadium, and boy does this set to be a very dangerous game for GWS. The last time they played, there was 66 points in it, and this was at Skoda Stadium in favour of the Bombers, obviously. And obviously, wet and slippery conditions probably made the margin look a little bit more respectable on the scoreboard. I don't think this game needs too much explanation. I'm just going to go with the Bombers by 110 points. Port Adelaide make a trip to Hobart to go up against North Melbourne with what should be one of the matches of the round. And I've said this a few times in the last few rounds that Port haven't lost a game, but in saying that, they've only really beaten mediocre teams, so it will definitely be a reality check either way. Last time, North Melbourne led by 32 points in the final quarter against Port Adelaide, and this was at Amy Stadium, and to Port's credit, they came back and stole the game to win it by 2 points, and Jay Schultz fired that day. I think he kicked 7, so he was certainly terrific for Port. North are a bit stiff to be 1-4 after 5 rounds. They've played some really top sides, and that probably doesn't make their position look too well, but they have been in some really good form and only have just fallen short against some of the competition's heavyweights, as I've said. North have won 5 of the last 7 against Port, so they certainly don't mind playing against them. It's just a must-win game for North if they want to stay in the finals, and home ground advantage should help out. It's almost another game that could probably go either way, but I'm going to go with North here by 19 points. Adelaide hosts Hawthorn at Amy Stadium on the Saturday afternoon. This could probably almost shape to be an interesting contest based on some of the factors that might not make this game such a give-me game for the Hawks. From memory, I don't think Brenton Sanderson's ever lost 2 games in a row whilst he's been coaching Adelaide, and the last 11 times these two sides have played at Amy Stadium, I think Adelaide have only lost once, so 10 of the last 11 games Adelaide have won at their home turf when playing the Hawks is certainly not a bad record there. But without Tex Walker, it almost seems impossible that they can get a winning score on the board, especially against one of the more higher scoring teams in the competition. And last time it was Hawthorn breaking the hearts of the Adelaide Crows. They won by 5 points in the preliminary final. They were very lucky to get away with that one. But yeah, I think Hawthorn should be pretty comfortable to get a win here. I think they'll win by 37 points. Geelong and Richmond will fight it out at the MCG on the Saturday night with what could be definitely the match of the round. Last time they played, it was Geelong just winning at home by 10 points at Simmons Stadium last year, so it was a pretty tough contest, and they only, as I said, only just got the win. And as we know, Cats haven't lost yet, and Richmond have lost their last 2, so it's definitely a must-win for both sides, especially Richmond if they want to keep their finals hopes alive. The last time Richmond actually defeated Geelong was at Geelong's home ground, back when it was called Skilled Stadium. It was in 2006, round 9, and that's their last win against them. And also, that's the Tigers' first win against them in their last 16 encounters. So Geelong, it certainly demonstrates that Geelong have a great advantage over the Tigers. They certainly love playing Richmond. But what really intrigues me is that the Cats are the worst clearance team in the competition, yet haven't lost a game yet, and they've played against some pretty top shelf sides, so I guess work that one out. I have no idea how that works. Huge game for both sides. I can't really not tip Geelong based on their recent form. They've been relatively decent. I mean, they haven't really thrashed any sides. They've just done enough to get the job done. But Richmond are also definitely in the box seat to cause an upset. However, I'm going to go with Geelong by 15 points. Fremantle will go up to Metricon Stadium to play the informed Gold Coast Suns, who have come off their biggest win in their short club history. Last time it was Fremantle just sneaking home, and they had a really competitive game on their hands. They only won by 7 points against Gold Coast last time, even though that was at Metricon Stadium. But yeah, they certainly had a challenge on their hands that night. And the thing I love about Fremantle these days is they've developed a win anywhere, anytime attitude, and that's, I reckon, a bit of kudos to Ross Lyon developing that. If Fremantle are a serious premiership contender, they just must win this game. They can't drop it. And although in saying that, Gold Coast are also a decent chance to cause an upset here. Fremantle with a fair few stars out, but still you've got to get the win, stars in or stars out. I think Fremantle will be able to get the win here by 20 points. Sydney hosts Brisbane at the SCG on the Sunday, and the last time it was Sydney getting the job done by 47 points over the Lions. And I must say, Sydney absolutely love playing against Brisbane. Apparently they've won 13 of the last 16 contests against them, so that definitely gives them the upper hand, that's for sure. Sydney are one of the more accurate teams in the competition. Compare that to Brisbane, who can't really kick straight most of the time. They're ranked 17th for goal kicking accuracy. So if they were to cause a major upset, they'd have to really have their kicking boots on, but I don't really see that happening. I think Sydney will get home comfortably here by 33 points. Carlton and Melbourne go head-to-head at the MCG this week. The last clash between these two sides, it was Carlton pretty easily winning by 58 points. Carlton also seem to have a clear advantage over Melbourne, as they've won the last 6 contests against them relatively comprehensively. And I think the D's have been reasonably competitive the last few weeks. I don't think that puts them instead for an upset by any means, but I think the margin might not be as much as what most people would think. I think Carlton will be able to get the job done here by 41 points. The last game of the round is the West Coast Eagles up against the Western Bulldogs at Patterson Stadium. And the last time these two sides went head-to-head, it was West Coast pretty comfortably by 49 points at Etihad Stadium. West Coast have won 4 of the last 5 games against the Bulldogs, so most people would think it should be a walk in the park for them against the Doggies to get a win. And I really like watching the Bulldogs' competitiveness against the Cats last week. The Cats only really just won in the end, even though they were down a few rotations. But yeah, I think it might be a hard-fought win for whoever does get the win. But I think it should be a fairly elementary victory for the Eagles. I think they'll win by 36 points. So those are my tips for round 6. It shouldn't really be a difficult round. Feel free to comment your tips. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all soon.